I remember the highlight of my time in that school. She asked me to write a composition about what I'd like to become in the future, right? So I wrote that I wanted to be a model. She wrote that she wants to see my parents. She sat them down in front of me and said that, you know, models don't need education. She's not doing well anyway, and I feel like she's a waste of like the school fees. I fell into that cycle of, you know, when I moved from Congo to Kenya, I experienced this much pain and this much hurt. So I started thinking maybe if I, you know, wasn't alive, then things would be much better. Maybe my family wouldn't be so embarrassed that I'm not smart enough. I decided to take some pills and I was like, I'm just gonna end my life and die. An agent messaged me on Instagram. They're like, we like your look and would like to work with you. They invited us to a 5-day event, modeling event. It went really good. It was like a competition and I came second. So they gave me a contract, a 12-month contract, and that's how my modeling career started.
Good.
Dear Pemba, you're strong, you're smart, and you're capable of so much. Keep going, and you're already taking the goals that you had set for yourself. Keep taking more and keep trusting in the Lord.
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to LNS Rebuilding Restoration Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi. I have waited to meet my guest for a long time. And to be honest, when I saw her email, the first thing I told my team is, don't you dare not give me this story. This one, I love her and I want to have a conversation with her. I have such a huge grace and I always try to extend a lot of grace to young people. And even at her age, when you hear her portfolio in places that she has been featured on, and she was like, Lynn, I'm not sharing these things to brag. It's because at some point, I wouldn't even be here. At some point, she did contemplate even taking her own life. And for me to be able to see her here, thrive, and willing to empower other young people really gives me great affirmation that we are headed to the best places when it comes to this platform. About to introduce her and let us walk us through her journey. But above all, guys, allow me to say thank you for being incredible supporters of our work. We are filming this in Australia, Melbourne, and she did fly in all the way from Brisbane just to be here and share her story with us. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all the people in Australia who have helped us put this work together. I say sometimes you don't know how things happen, but they really do happen. For us as LNN, it's a blessing to be able to have this conversation in Australia. So that's something I do not take for granted. And I'm wishing you in your own journey all the very best. And always remember, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Imagine these things, and I know we can all collectively get to where we are going. And of course, to the amazing team here in Australia, Joshua Muga, the Ngatia family, for making sure we continue doing this the easiest way possible. Honestly, I'm really grateful. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let this beautiful girl introduce herself. Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Wow.
Sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Which part should I start with? You are so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
I love your outfit. I wish we had a shoe cam. Loving your Adidas. Like, you are so beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
It's easy for me to compliment you on the outside, but I love the work that you've done on the inside. So just know it's an honor for me to get to have this conversation with you. I feel like I'm speaking to my younger sister. Makes it a bit easier for me. So I really do appreciate you, and I honor you coming all the way to Brisbane and being here to share your story. So I hope you feel home. I feel you feel confident, and I hope you know you are speaking to someone that was longing to have this conversation with you. So please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Wow, what a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been a goal for me to meet you, but I'll introduce myself first.
All right.
Well, my name's Pemba. I was born in Congo, raised in Kenya, partly, and then I currently live in Brisbane, Australia.
Good. Lovely. Let me ask you one question. What has been the highlight of your life?
The highlight of my life, there's a lot, but the most important one, I think, is just being alive. Just being alive and yeah, just having so much support around me and yeah.
Beautiful. And you know, this is something I do at the end of the episode, but allow me for this particular episode to do it now. When you look back, what do you tell Pemba? You know, dear Pemba, what are some of the things you would love to tell yourself?
There's actually a lot I'd like to tell my younger self. First of all, the first thing I'd like to tell myself is to hold on, to trust God and to trust my potential, and to always believe that greater is He that is in me than he that is in the whole world. Because sometimes when we're young, we're always like wondering, you know, what am I made for? You know, what does the future hold for me? But we don't actually live in the moment. We're always like wanting to know what's going to happen next. So I feel like if I was to say something to my younger self, is to have faith in God and just keep holding on.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know, you said something very important, what we are here for, what we are made for. Right now, what do you think you are here for? And what do you think you've been made for?
Wow, that's a really good question. I feel like my purpose in life is to, well, first of all, I need to equip myself so that I can be able to be an asset and empower other people my age and younger, hopefully even older. I believe that God has put such a great message in me and that He wants me to share in the world. So my goal is to impact other people and hopefully change their life for the better. Yeah.
And more grace to you. I want the best things for you in this life. I want you to be on the cover of all incredible magazines. Amen. I want people to be able to experience your smile, your beauty, your beautiful eyes, your beautiful hair. I want all that for you. And I know we are going to see you in all beautiful places. But for you to be able to say your greatest achievement right now is that you are alive. I acknowledge that you've not had quite the easiest or the smoothest life, but I do really admire you for just getting yourself out of that hole and being here. So this is the part I want to take a back seat and let you walk us through your story from the point you're comfortable in to this part now where we are looking at Pemba as an international model, having been featured in beautiful magazines such as Vogue, owning her own house, driving her own cars. For me, these are really beautiful things, but I also do acknowledge that there has to be a story. So could you walk us through your story so that we understand how did we get here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I was born in Congo, as I previously said. I was born in 1999. Not too long ago. Yes. My dad used to be a minister of health. May he rest in peace. He's now passed. So my dad had 4 wives. My mom was the last wife. I am one of 8, just from my mom and dad. Yes. But my dad has multiple kids. Okay. So when I was born, my dad had just, look, he was big in politics, Minister of Health, but when I was born, he wasn't as wealthy and he stepped down from politics. So life was a bit challenging at that point. So growing up for me, it was not easy, as I had mentioned. We were living in one house with my 8 siblings, with my mom. But at some point, my dad and mom split up. My mom left for Australia, now that we know, but at that point, I didn't know where she had gone. And so we just stayed with dad, went to school. My dad's other kids were also in the country. They did not like us so much. So one of them in particular would you know, take me and my 2 siblings and say that we're the cause of my dad's downfall, because he was big on politics and suddenly he's not doing so well. So she then started taking us to different churches saying that, you know, we bewitched him and we caused his downfall. So different people, like he would take us to church from like 7 p.m. and random people would like pray for us saying that we need to get delivered and stuff like that. And we were so innocent, we didn't even know what was going on. They'd make us sleep on the floor and they'd pray for us. It went on for so long. And then the other sister would like pick on me mostly. She'd say that I was so skinny, so sickly, and she'll like massage me on a daily basis saying that, you know, I'm sick and I'm not okay. I'm disabled and mean things like that. So I kind of started distancing myself from everyone. I was always like locked in my room. My whole childhood, I've been like just alone, distance from everyone else. I couldn't even write. I couldn't even read, and nobody even bothered to check in on me or like support me or ask if I was okay. So it wasn't an easy childhood. Because life was so hard, my sisters and I started we were making like drinks and selling it at different schools just to survive. Dad then got sick and he passed on. And then my mom had reached out through her sister, and then we discovered that she was in Australia. And so she decided that we should relocate to Kenya. And then once we relocate to Kenya, then she'll process our visa and then we'll come to Australia.
Yeah.
So then there's this whole childhood that I experienced in Congo where I was not doing so well at school, being abused physically, mentally, and then moving to Kenya where it was more traumatic because I had not even known that there's a place called Kenya, and then there's me there not knowing any English or Swahili. So we moved to Kenya and we started renting this house, and then we were enrolled at a school. I'll never forget that school. I actually went back there. So this school was in Comoros.
Yes.
It's called Magbell. So I was in grade 4 and there was 2 teachers there, I recall, Teacher Margaret and Teacher Teresa. So I was not doing well in school because of all this trauma that I had been through, that nobody cared to, chat with me and stuff. So throughout school, I was failing. I was always bottom 3. And, in the Kenya school system, when you're not doing so well, they will call you out there, expose you and call you names. And I remember the highlight of my time in that school. She asked me to write a composition about what I'd like to become in the future, right? So I wrote that I wanted to be a model. She asked me for my diary, and then she wrote that she wants to see my parents. So because my mom was in Australia, it was just my siblings. So then the next day, I confidently came with my sisters. She sat them down in front of me and said that, models don't need education. She's not doing well anyway, and I feel like she's a waste of the school fees. She should just stop studying and, just stay at home if modeling is what she wants to do. That really broke my heart because me as a person, I felt like when we send our kids to school, we send them to role models who we want. We want them to shape the kids, the future, and accept them as who they are and not judge them and call them names. So from that day, I kind of became cold again, and I was like, am I even worth anything? What's this life? But I still kept going. And then I got transferred schools. So then I got moved to Lakewood schools. The other school was also traumatic. Again, I was not doing so well. I was also failing all the subjects. I was doing so bad. And I was also constantly abused, physically and mentally abused. Every time we'd do exams, I'd always fail and the teachers would beat me. And it was a cycle. Every week we'd do exams. I failed, they beat me. So I started then cheating in exams because I was like, I'm tired of the beating. So for it to stop, I kind of have to get good grades. That way they won't, punish me. So I started cheating, and then they discovered that I was cheating. I got into more trouble. At some point, I remember I did a social studies exam and I got 15 out of 60. So you can imagine how bad that was. The teacher beat me so bad. I was bruised from my neck down. She beat me and she would constantly tell me, you're a failure. You'll never amount to anything. You'll become a botch. You'll be mama fua. You'll be, washing clothes and dishes for all these smart kids in the class. And even these days, no man is gonna want to marry a useless girl, even though you're beautiful. No one's gonna want to marry you because you're brainless and you'll never amount to anything. She would constantly say these words to me in my face in front of the whole class. So when we had parades, my name would always be called bottom 5, and I'll be punished in front of the whole school. Like, I felt ridiculed and embarrassed, and it was not great. But there was this one teacher, Teacher Carol. She was a science teacher. She punished me as well for failing because I didn't know the difference between solid and liquid. But her punishment came from a place of love, because she'd punish me, but after punishing me, she'd call me to her office and ask me, what can I do to help you? Why are you failing? Like, what's happening? She's the only one who cared and took her time to check in on me. So her punishment to me, I felt like it came from a place of love. And although she was beating me, but I felt like that's, as a mom should do, punish you for doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that time. And then because of the beating and the punishment, it was getting too much. I started getting sick, always going home bruised. It took my mom calling the school and threatening them to send the police for them to stop beating me. So my experience in Kenya was, I felt the most loved, but I also felt the most hurt.
Terrible.
It was constant from Congo moving to Kenya. It was abuse and all these things happening. And then finally in 2016, we relocated to Australia. So it was the first time me seeing my mom again after so long. So there was mixed emotions there. But again, I fell into that cycle of, when I moved from Congo to Kenya, I experienced this much pain and this much hurt. Is the same thing going to happen in Australia? Am I going to go to school again and be beaten and get punished because I'm not smart enough? So I started contemplating, is it worth, being alive? So I started thinking maybe if I, wasn't alive, then things would be much better. Maybe my family wouldn't be so embarrassed that I'm not smart enough. Then I don't know what was going through my head, but I decided to take some pills, and I was like, I'm just going to end my life and die. But lucky, one of my closest friends found me in the bathroom, and she called the ambulance, and at school, I was taken to the hospital. I spent some days there. After that, I did counseling and went through so much. They gave me support. After that, it was a dark time in my life, but I had so much support, and I'm grateful for that. And then after that, I went back to school. I had a guidance officer who was always talking to me. I had support teachers guiding me, and I actually started understanding. I felt support, and everyone was there asking me if I needed help, if anything was wrong. They were always there for me. So I started understanding and just reading and taking time to understand, and I was finally at peace. I felt like no one was chasing me, wanting me to get 100%, like 500 out of 500. So I took my time, and I actually started seeing an improvement. Like, I started passing exams, and I started doing so good. So by the time it was grade 11, which is equivalent to, I think, Form 3 in Kenya, I was topping even some of my classes.
Good.
I was doing so well, surprisingly. So I even got elected as a school prefect.
Come on now.
Which was amazing. And then when I graduated high school, I was doing part-time uni. I was doing a course that was a bridging course to uni. It was a business course. So they offered me a guaranteed entry into university. But because I had also done well at uni, I got the chance to study nursing or social work. So there was that. But while I was in high school, I was also working 2 jobs.
Wait, now?
Yeah. So
2 jobs?
Yeah.
In high school?
In high school.
How do you guys study and work?
Well, most people can't do it.
It's hard.
But some of us that want to be independent and, work for our money, and it's you kind of have to do it. For me, growing up, I had known that I'm the only backup that I have. I can only rely on me. And so I kind of had that in my mind, I was like, I have to work. If I need something, I have to provide it for myself. So when I was in high school, I was working at an Asian shop, and I was also working in Red Rooster. It's like a fast food. It's like McDonald's.
Yeah.
So we'd go to school from 8:40 till like 2:40, and then after school I'd go and work at the Asian shop, and then on the weekend I'd work at Red Rooster just to get some money.
Yeah.
So I actually saved all my money, and the last year of uni I got myself a car.
Hey.
So that's how I got my first car.
Hey.
Yes.
At
through,
how
like,
old you are? 19?
19.
Hey.
Yeah. So I was like, if I get a car, then after high school, I'll be able to, like, you know, get a better job that can give me better pay, and then I can achieve some of my other goals that I had. So that was kind of my mindset, and that's what motivated me to keep working and working even harder.
All right.
Yeah.
Walk me through your life after, you know, high school.
Yeah.
At what point do you get to own your first house? And at what point do you move on to your modeling journey?
Yeah.
And also, being that you've been away from mom for a long time, how do you get to repair your relationship and move it from that awkward place? And do you get to ever ask her, Mom, why did you leave?
Yeah. So in the last year of high school, an agent messaged me on Instagram. They're like, we like your look and would like to work with you. But me, I thought it was a scam. I was like, I'm still in high school. I'm not going to reply to this. But something in me just kept telling me maybe I should give it a go. So I thought about it. I spoke to my sisters. I was like, you know, there's this message that I got. What do you guys think? So my sister said, I'll accompany you. We'll go and see what it is. And if it's something genuine, then I think you should give it a go. But if it's a scam, then we'll know when we're there. So we went. They invited us to a 5-day modeling event. And I went with my sister. It went really good. It was like a competition, and I came second. So they gave me a contract, a 12-month contract, and that's how my modeling career started.
Good.
So with the contracts, they were able to book me some jobs, and yeah.
How has it been?
Well, so far, because of uni and I was still at uni, it hasn't been as, I'm not yet where I want to be, but it's been amazing. The journey has been amazing. I've achieved so much. I've done a lot of jobs, which is really good. But as I said again, I'm not where I aspired to be, but it's been great. Yeah.
Beautiful. And you know, you are walking into this, someone is telling you, we would love to work with you. This is a modeling agency, meaning there are things they have to consider. And then you come from a background where someone was calling you ugly, you would never amount to anything. What had shifted in your mindset that made you trust that, no, that's what they said, but this is who I am, and I can be able to do this?
I feel like after I had survived trying to take my own life, I started doing a lot of positive self-talk. I would wake up and just look myself in the mirror and say, you know, I'm worth it. If I'm still alive, that means God still has something to do with me. I started reminding myself of how beautiful I was and how smart I was, regardless of not meeting the expectations that other people had of me. And I always reminded myself that it takes one right person to see you, and then they'll give you the opportunity that needs to be in your life. So just that constant reminder, and just knowing that I'm worth it regardless of what other people said, that's what kept me going.
Good.
Yes, yeah.
And given that, you know, we have two different cultures here, you in Kenya, these are the teachers who are saying these words to you. What would you want to say, especially the role of teachers in when they are nurturing young people and the power of words?
I feel like words has so much power, especially to a young child whose self-esteem is really low. I was lucky enough that I was strong, and regardless of what they would tell me, I'd turn back to God and like pray and ask God, you know, give me the strength to keep going. And I knew that my mom was in Australia, so at some point I'd run away from Kenya. But it's not the same case for another child who might be going through what I had gone through. And so I feel like the role of a teacher is to be a role model, as I had said earlier. Our parents send us to school so that we can learn and be accepted and, you know, molded to be, for whatever potential we have, for it to be accepted, and not for you to call us names, look down upon us and tell us what we're not capable of.
Yes.
I feel like your role is to be a role model. Your role is to be that parent outside of home. Your role is to accept a child regardless of them not being smart enough, because you don't know their future and you can't determine what they'll turn up to be. So you're just there to support them. And, education is really important, but if you're, telling that child they're not good enough, then how are you expecting them to do any good, So I feel like teachers should really, change their ways and really just accept kids as they are kids and let them be.
Good.
Yeah.
In Australia, apart from, having someone to counsel you, someone, speaking kind words to you, what else did the system do that really helped you get your confidence back?
That's the one thing I really like about Australia. They pick what you're good at and they run with it. Like, I'm really good in English, so that's my strength.
Yes.
I thrive in English, any English subject. Even in Kenya, surprisingly, I was failing all the subjects, but I was always topping in English, which everybody's found funny.
Yeah.
Like, I was like in the dumbest class. You know how they have, like, let's say it's class 8. Yes. They have 8 white, blue, yellow, and pink is always the dumbest one. I was always in 8, like pink, anything pink. So I'd fail everything, but then in English, I'm like competing with people in 8 white. So it was always funny. So English has been my strongest point. And so when I came to Australia, regardless of the support, they saw that I was good in English. So they pushed me to take English subject that would lead me to university. So I was not good in maths, so they kind of knew that. And so they took what I was good at and molded me, and they worked with my strength, which is what I like about, here. They don't just look what you're not good at. They look at what you're good at, and they ask you how they can support you and work with you. So they give you all the opportunities. They give you all the tools that you can succeed.
As compared to back home. Yeah. And also you did mention about your step siblings wanting to pray for you, taking you to pastors, you have a problem. That must have been confusing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was very confusing because I thought I was just a child who was grieving the loss of a dad who didn't grow up with a mom. So I thought it was just normal for me to be quiet and to distance myself because first of all, I'm learning to know myself, and I don't know what I did wrong for them to see it that way, but that's how they saw it, unfortunately. But it was really confusing, and I was really lost for them to be behaving like that. So yeah.
Do you think we take religious or spiritual matters for granted? Do you think we are crazy with how we approach some of these things?
I mean, there are like some of those things are true, but I feel like for you to make a judgment of like someone being a witch, you should see enough, that they've done this and that, and then, make that accusation. But if a child is just skinny and they're just, on their own, I don't think that's judgment enough to, tell someone like they're a witch or something like that. So yeah.
Good. And coming to Australia again, you get to bump into mom. How was that? How did that play out? The reunion, and how is your relationship
now? It was really awkward because I haven't seen her since I was like 6. And then as a grown, like 16-year-old, now meeting my mom for the first time again, it was challenging because I felt like she's a new person in my life. But we got to know each other and, just learn about each other and spend more time together, quality time. And I feel like our relationship is at a good space right now. We're doing okay, by the grace of God.
And also just I can only imagine that must have been painful to know that she's here, but she can't be with you guys, which brings me into this concept of how, as Africans, we treat our people when our loved ones pass on. Do we create safe spaces even for the widows and widowers? It's always after dad leaves, then you guys get to suffer.
I actually witnessed that even growing up, because when my dad was still in politics, like I get stories like people, he sent a lot of people to school, a lot of cousins, kids to school, but when he died, they all like just went their way, and you know, didn't even bother that he had kids. So it's a funny world. Like when you're happy and you're rich, there's so much support and so much people around you, but that moment that person that gives them wealth or supports them is no longer there, then that support also disappears, which is a really sad reality.
Good.
Yeah.
And congratulations once again. I know one of the key highlights I was reading, she's been involved magazine. That's how did that feel? Like, walk me through that process.
I was invited at the event by a friend. And so I just attended the first event. It was good. I met with the editor-in-chief of Vogue Australia. We had a conversation, and then that's how I started getting more invites. And then just attending invites, and then one day they released a magazine, and boom, I was there.
Hey, how did that feel, seeing yourself?
It felt unreal. You know, coming from where I've come from, I didn't expect myself to be in such a huge magazine that, you know, people would see around the world. And it was a beautiful moment. I even like cried because I didn't think I would ever get that far, but I did it, and I'm thankful to God.
And you're gonna do more. You're gonna do more. And I feel like we really need to nurture our people and use their strengths, because there's always that misconception also, models are brainless.
Yeah.
That's why you have a teacher saying models should not be in school. How should we deal better with that? Especially from an African context. Because you have a teacher that can see. You saying, I want to be a model innocently. Then there's a teacher saying models are not supposed to be in school, alluding to models are brainless or something. Like, how can we do better?
I think teachers need to be re-educated. They need to be educated on the fact that every career, you know, someone can be a construction worker, but they could have a master's degree. Right now, I'm a qualified social worker, so I am well and truly educated, and I still do modeling. So you shouldn't judge based on someone's career. Maybe someone can be doing something as a hobby, but that doesn't mean that, you know, they're not educated. So I think we should stop judging and be more educated and know that, you know, it's okay for someone to choose to do what they want to do, and not be judgmental about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And why social work?
Social work because I feel like what I went through, as I said, I want to equip myself so that I can help and empower other children. And I felt like it was either between psychology or social work. And my heart just felt for social work because I'm a people person. I like to help others help themselves. So I feel like if I can talk to people, then maybe two or three of the things that I can say can impact them, and I can support them, use my story as a tool to motivate them wanting to do better and, you know, want to see the potential in their own life. Yeah, just be there to motivate them and, like, you know, work life with them. Yeah.
And how is that coming about?
It's going really good. So I currently work. I work with young people. I work with young people who are transitioning from child safety. So, you know, the system when their own parents can't care for them, then they get into a child safety system where they're given into foster carers or they're given into like residential houses. So at the moment I work with those young people that are transitioning from care. So once they turn 18, after living in care for so long and without their parents, they transition into a world of independence and they're alone. So I case manage them. I help them gain or maintain their independence. So we access funds from the government and help them start a life. We also help them with day-to-day skills, like learning how to go to the shops, applying for a bank card, applying for like Centrelink, and applying for all like Medicare and all these other things. So it's kind of what I didn't have when I was younger. So I'm there as like a role model for them and just supporting them.
That must be fulfilling.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah,
see how you smile when that's good. That's good for you, you know. And also, having that much independence as a young person, you know, it's only talking to people like you that people are saying, because it's a beautiful achievement for young people, having stability, having cars, having houses. How are you able to still be grounded? Because, you know, you have access to this much money, these properties, this whole independent, but how are you still able to remain grounded?
I feel like because I know I've had nothing and I could always have nothing. So I've kind of tested both and I know how it feels. So, and personally, I know this is what I want to be. I know who I am. I know where I want to be. So I'm very privileged in that I know myself. So I always strive to be true to myself. And I always ask myself, if I do this, how would that reflect in the next 5-10 years of my life? So I rely on myself and I work so hard because I want to give myself a certain life. And I'm always so hard on myself because I know where I've been and where I'm headed. And so that's what keeps me going.
Good.
That's my motivation. Yeah.
How is the social life in Australia? Dating?
Yay! It's crazy.
How are we doing?
It's crazy. The social life it's crazy. It's very lively, but that's kind of not my area.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, it's really good. Yeah. What's good?
Dating or some like, you know?
Well,
no Prince Charming.
I don't
Nobody
know.
giving you butterflies. We're gonna skip that real quick.
Next question.
Next question. I love talking to young people, but you know, also there are a lot of misconceptions about young people. You're Gen Z, where you're sitting. I'm a millennial, and sometimes there's always this thing that we don't get you. People, do you actually think people don't get or understand Gen Zs?
Yeah, I feel like people don't get us, as the lovely the Adelaide that was here before was saying. We tend to talk back a lot, not in a disrespectful way, but we're so defensive. Because our parents want to parent us the way they were parented, not knowing that it's different times and different generation. Maybe how you did things back in the days differs from how we see and how the world is at present. So I feel like that's the difference. They try. Our parents sometimes will talk to us not to understand us, but to reply to us. So I feel like if they sat down with us and understood our perspective and where we're coming from, it'll be different and not just dictate, do this. So I feel like that's where the difference is, and we know too much these days. So yeah.
Do you think also you guys don't like, you know, I think when I was having a conversation with Miss Martins, there was that she alluded to the fact that, yes, you are independent, you're smart, you're everything, but there's also a percentage of you that want to rubbish what has been done before. Do you think that's true?
I feel like to some extent it is true. But it's not all of us that want to do that. Some of us actually sit down and listen to what our parents have to say and then sit down and reflect. How does that then, how can I put that into my life at current and, you know, excel? So it's all about how you take what's given to you. You can give me advice right now and I'll take the good and leave the bad. So I feel like that's the difference.
And I have to ask, you know, what are you looking forward to doing? What legacy are you looking into leaving behind?
My goal one day is to work with the UN to make a more impact in the lives of young ones, especially back home, and to just be, you know, a point of inspiration to some people and just share my stories and hopefully, you know, gets to the right person who might be in a similar situation that I was, and hopefully my story can inspire them to keep pushing and keep trusting in the future that the Lord has for them.
Have you thought of going back to Congo?
No.
Why not?
Unfortunately for me, I don't feel like Congo is home for me, just because of what I had experienced. But I embrace Kenya as my home now. I still love Congo, where I was born, but I grew up more in Kenya and in Australia now, and I feel like as much as I love my country, Congo, it's no longer home for me.
Kenya?
Oh, I love Kenya. Yeah, mwalimu wa maths.
Hapa ni wapi? You get it now? Mwalimu wa maths.
Mwalimu wa maths. Tumefika. Tumefika sasa.
Lakini, you can literally say it. Yours was teacher for?
Teacher wa science. Social studies.
There you go.
Teacher wa social studies. Hapa ni wapi?
You have a social studies teacher bringing you down?
Oh, absolutely.
The irony.
Yeah.
The irony.
So sad.
Complete irony.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'd love for her to watch this actually.
Hey, what message do you have?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I actually, I from the bottom of my heart, I forgave her. And I feel like I'm a strong testimony of what God can do. You tried to bring me down by your evil words, but God took your words and turned it into blessings and made me and turned me who I am. Mm-hmm. And I hope someone out there who you've also told the same words, that believed in the words that you put into their heads, would watch this right now and turn their lives around and pick up from where they are and, believe in the power and the gift that God has given them and change their lives. Mm-hmm. And I hope you stop, putting these evil words in the minds of young people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful. I hope she hears this too.
I hope so, yeah.
I really do hope. And I hope also other people who do this, especially in schools, I hope they get to hear this, because I can't tell you. You know when Miss Martins was speaking and she was saying she's coaching someone who had been told something 21 years ago and they held it in their subconscious mind and it works with them. I feel like people do not understand the power of words. Like if you're gonna say something and it's not constructive, just don't say it at all, because it will take one word you say for someone to walk with for 20 or 20 more years, and then later they look at how their life turned around, and they will be able to trace, oh my God, it's because of what someone said that my life has been so dark. So I hope she really hears you among other people, especially in our education center. I hope they really get to hear that, But I gotta ask, favorite movie?
Die Hard.
Hey. Okay, good.
Have you seen that?
Yes, of course. Favorite actor?
Favorite actor.
Don't hurt me.
I'm gonna say Lupita.
Oh, that's
Lupita
beautiful.
Nyong'o. I love Lupita.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why so?
She's just gorgeous. She embraces her natural self, and we stand a Kenyan queen. Yeah.
Good. Does she motivate you?
In some areas, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Favorite food?
Ugali, nyama choma,
kachumbari, sukuma. Favorite artist?
Musician, I'll say Bien from Sauti Sol.
Hey, shout out Bien. Bien is cool people. Sauti Sol are cool people.
Yeah.
You traveled all the way to attend Soul Fest.
I did.
Yes, so that was really amazing. And
was.
I feel like it would make them happy to know that you really value their music, especially Bien. So kudos. Dream destination?
I'm gonna have to say New Zealand.
Hey, you wanna go with her right now? Auntie's here, so you wanna go with New Zealand? What?
Please take me with you.
Yeah. Why New Zealand?
New Zealand is really cold and it's really beautiful. It's got a lot of beautiful landscapes, and I'd love to visit that one day.
Beautiful, lovely. Yeah. And as I always ask on this show, before we wind up, feel free to speak about anything. Is there anything that you wanna add on before we wind up? Feel free. We got time.
I also just want to add, I feel like I skipped it.
Yes.
As much as I had that teacher that put me down, I also had the one good science teacher.
Yes.
That was
what's the name?
Teacher Carol. Teacher Caroline, yeah.
Aww.
She was a good person, and she genuinely, would tell me that keep pushing. I know it might look dark for you right now, but I see a bright future for you. And she just kept pushing me, so that was beautiful.
Teacher Carol.
Teacher Caro, thank you. Your beautiful words encouraged me, and it kept me going. And you gave me that motherly love, and I just want to say thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And before I wind up, mine is just to wish you all the very best. I love the gifts that you brought me. I appreciate that. Was very thoughtful of you. You know, we were having a conversation the other day, and I think we were in a group of women, and they were talking about how their daughters have started now asking for makeup, and they're always like, so they're not just saying any makeup, they're saying they want makeup from Maka. Is it Maka? Mecca? And they're like, I want Mecca. And they were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Because Mecca is something else, you know?
Yeah.
So I really do appreciate you getting me.
You deserve it.
Yeah, and also getting me my lipstick signature.
I know. Every time I watch you, you're rocking the red lipstick. I'm like, we've got to add more.
We got to add more. I can't wait to rock it. And also just for you being you. And I want to affirm that you are so, 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 so beautiful. And I hope a lot of young people who get to watch this get to be encouraged by your story. A lot of teachers who get to watch this get to understand their role when it comes to nurturing their students. And I also hope that any person who had been stuck in life, not knowing they could also get to experience this beautiful version of a country that has systems that protects their mental health, gets to know that it's not too late. Because I feel like there are a lot of things we can also borrow from how Australia is treating its people. And I hope we get there even as a continent. So go you. Me, I want to see you shine. I want to see you thrive. I'll be here cheering you on, wanting the best for you. And as I said earlier, I could not wait to just come here and have this conversation with you. But as I wind up, there's something we always do here on the show. You've spoken about life, you've spoken about, you know, surviving and thriving at the same time. But now if you can look at that camera and say something to yourself, not your younger you, but dear Pemba.
Wow. Dear Pemba, you're strong, you're smart, and you're capable of so much. Keep going, and you're already taking the goals that you had set for yourself. Keep taking more, and keep trusting in the Lord, and keep following that dream that you have in your heart. And in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll look back at Lynn's interview and you would have achieved all that you've said, and you'll be in an even better space than you are right now. So I believe in you. Keep going.
Beautiful. Cheering you on over and over.
Thank you.
And I hope we can like shoot me an email 5 years or 10 years and say, Lynn, you remember that interview? This is what I've been able to accomplish. This is what else I've added to that beautiful portfolio. So congratulations, and thank you for flying all the way to just come and have this.
I would have loved for you guys to visit Brisbane. I'd host you in my house.
People in Brisbane are so mad at us. Oh my God, but we will be back, you know. We can only visit few states at a go, but we are gonna do this for the next 2 years or 3 years. So maybe our next trip when we come will be, you know, I used to call it no, it's Brisbane. I used to call it Brisbane.
It is Brisbane.
It is. Oh, so I used to say the other version, Brisbane.
You can call it.
I can call it either ways, right?
Yeah.
And how do you say Perth?
Perth.
Okay. The English is here. But do you rinse your dishes? When you wash your dishes, do you rinse from the soap?
I actually hand wash the dishes.
And you rinse with clean water?
Yes.
So you don't just put them after the soap. No. Is it a culture?
A lot of Wazungu, they do.
Oh my God, Jane! So it's a thing. And then you'll have this tea. Hey.
Yeah, it's a thing.
But they are still here.
Yeah.
So it might be, maybe it's the secret ingredient.
We never know.
You know, like look at Jane. She's just there looking so beautiful, and she's been doing it. She did that.
Sorry.
You watch it, you don't rinse. What else? What other culture shock have you witnessed?
People walk barefooted.
That I would love to, because I feel like there's, even right now, I'm getting into this habit of hosting my shows with no shoes.
At the shopping center.
They walk just barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are grounding. I feel like you are connecting to that for me I would do. You know why? Because when we were growing up, we used to do that all the time. And even when I visit my when I visit Ushago, I'm always like, how did we maneuver this hard ground? But we used to pass there every time with no shoes. And now we can't. But that is 50-50. I feel like that I would attempt to do as well. Because even now I'm hosting this show with no shoes and I feel very good. As compared to when I'm doing it with my shoes. Yeah. I honestly feel good. What else is there? 2 more. Come on, tell us.
Well, there's people that eat kangaroos.
I ate kangaroo.
Wow.
I had a kangaroo pie.
I've never had it.
You've never?
No.
Good. Tastes like chicken.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Now I know.
Tastes like chicken. Attempt it. It's really good.
Wow.
Last one.
Have they given you the weird smiles?
The weird smiles?
Yeah.
Like it? I guess, Megan, why do you people do that? You know, like
you just be walking in the shop and someone's like
Pemba one, I swear, the last one. Last one. Lots of weird smiles, you know. No, last one. I promise. I won't ask you.
What else can I think
At
of?
least we've spoken about all the good things in this place, the systems, the healthcare, all education. Yeah. But we gotta know a bit of weird things also.
Another weird thing is sometimes you can't understand the English Australians speak.
Yes.
I'm like, good day, mate. How you doing?
So your first time, what were you hearing?
I thought they were speaking a different language.
Not English.
You just meet someone, they're like, good day, mate. How you doing? I'm like, are you talking English?
Thank you. Shall we wind up?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you show up for us?
Thanks for having me, Lynn. I was chasing it so fast. Now it's a goal, but now I've made that dream a reality. Thanks for having me and thanks for this beautiful moment.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell people back home? Wind it up LNN style. Let me see how you can wind up this show for us.
Asanteni sana. Mimi napenda Kenya. Mimi ni Mkenya. Asanteni sana kwa kunikaribisha. Nawapenda sana.
Hey. Swahili.
Ndio, si stories za jaba.
Good. Aya, endelea basi.
Hi, asanteni sana for having me, and hopefully mkiwatch hii interview itawa motivate na hopefully you'll do and believe in yourself.
Good.
Yeah.
Watu wanaweza kupata wapi kwa mtandao?
Mimi niko tu na Instagram. Naitwa Pemba Chulembo. So Pemba Tshulembo.
Good. Wakupate hapo. Waone safari yako.
Yes.
Shukran sana. Mimi nimefurahi kukaa hapa na kuhave hii conversation na wewe. Kwa wale wanaotazama na maybe waelewi Kiswahili utawatranslatea, lakini kwa sasa nakutakia kila laheri. Enda uwashtue kabisa. Enda ukuwe successful kabisa na Mungu akuonekanie kwa mahitaji yako. Yes, nimekuwa mtangazaji wako Lynn Ngugi. Natumai pia nyinyi mmesoma kitu. Kawaida kwa comment section tuongee hapo, mniambie mmesoma nini, na pia guest wetu leo amewa inspire kivipi, na pia tumeweza kuona venye maneno yanaweza fanya mtu katika maisha. So mimi langu ni kuwasihi, tafadhali unapomwambia mtu kitu, tafadhali fikiria kwanza kabla hujanena hayo maneno. Kile kitu unaweza sema kinaweza kuwa na a lot of consequences kwa maisha ya mtu. Kwa hivyo basi tukue tu watu wapole tu tunapoambiana maneno. Na pia mnaona venye msichana wetu hapa ni mrembo, ni mdogo na amefanya mambo makuu kwa maisha yake. So tafadhali kwa comment section tumpatie maneno matamu ya kumtia moyo, na pia unaweza forwardia hii interview mtoto wako aweze kuocha, ndio ajue kwa lolote lile anapitia anaweza pia fika hapa. Hii hapa ni an example ya venye watoto wadogo wanajituma na venye wako focused. So tunapoona wanafanya jambo la muhimu, tafadhali tusikue watu wangumu. Wacheni tuwa encourage. They are the future. They are the people we are going to leave our nations with. So let's extend a lot of grace to them. Been an amazing show today. Filmed 3 good shows under very hard circumstances in the morning. So Brian, this is for you. Thank you for making it happen. Thank you so much for being an amazing guest, Pemba, and for my gifts. Thank you, Lynn, for hosting this show very well. Thank you, Muga, for making sure we have had a peaceful filming. Thank you, Jane, for doubling up as our guest and our assistant, production assistant. And thank you, Mrs. Martins, for giving us your smile and encouraging us with your story. The one and only Joshua J. Karanja. This is Joshua J. Karanja, making sure that he has had all the apples, he has had all the waters, he has taken care of himself so that he can get the energy to help us during our Australia trip. And the people back at home, we appreciate you. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.